We have a lot to talk about. Nintendo consistently just bucks every trend. All this talk about the industry changing, all this talk about services, games as a service, single player games just can't make it anymore. And then we see the OLED Switch announced. People sort of laugh at it. It's sort of 2-3 generations behind. But I want to talk to you about some news out of Japan. So it says, with only 10 days to go until the launch of the Nintendo Switch OLED, the first reports of reservations in Japan point to a demand between 5 and 7 times the supply in stores such as Yodobashi Camera, which is essentially like a Best Buy in Japan, one of the most important commercial chains specialized in electronic products in the Japanese country. So this comes from David Gibson, a consultant that specializes in Asian market reserve lotteries. Each unit is designated to a buyer by lottery. Given the lack of units for all, leave a clear picture. There will be no units of Nintendo Switch OLED for all interested at its premiere. 5 to 7 times the demand in Japan for the OLED Switch. And you might say to yourself, why? The Switch has been there. People have been buying it. Well, clearly Nintendo knows the market. Clearly, after that show, they showed 3 really strong software titles. I wasn't really excited about the service aspect where you have to pay extra for Nintendo 64 now, whereas you didn't have to pay extra in the past for Super Nintendo or Nintendo Entertainment System games. But Bayonetta 3, Splatoon 3, and then you've got a brand new Kirby 3D platformer. The content that they have, Metroid Dread coming out soon, coupled with a brand new Switch OLED, people are responding to it. This system is already selling at a record rate all over the world. Japan has been soft recently, even for PlayStation. PlayStation is selling incredibly well globally and in Japan, but their software sales are flat. But with the Nintendo Switch OLED having a 5 to 7 time demand over everything else, think about that. You have to apply for a lottery to win the right to pre-order this thing. That's how much demand there is for this. And it's unbelievable to me. A resurgent Nintendo going into the holiday season with really strong software titles. It's going to be the best-selling console this holiday. There's some more really interesting information in this article, and I'll link it, but it says, in the absence of knowing how many units Nintendo will distribute in Japan of its new model with a larger OLED screen, among other improvements, we can put in context how things were in previous models of it. If we travel to September 2019, when the first version of the family went on sale, we see that Nintendo Switch Lite achieved sales of 178,000 units in the first 3 days available. At that time, the demand was very high and coincided with the release of a video game like The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening DX. For its part, the original model debuted in March 2017 with 62,000 units in Japan, much less than with the only portable model, but as soon as stock arrived, these figures grew until they maintained a historical sales rate for the company. Till this date, Nintendo Switch has managed to sell more than 21 million units in Japan, of which 16.9 million correspond to the standard model and 4 million for the Lite model. With these numbers, it will soon surpass the 24.5 million accumulated of Nintendo 3DS, the previous model of the family, one of the highest distribution figures in the entire history of the video game in the country of the rising sun. So, it is just incredible that Nintendo, through sheer will alone, can release products that sell extremely well, and the only reason they do it is because they couple their products with great software. I keep saying it, I keep beating that drum. It's all about content. It's all about taking something that's already unique and making it even more attractive, even more unique, with incredible experiences. Now, it's no secret that after that Nintendo Direct, I wasn't a big fan of some of the choices Nintendo made with their service. paying an extra fee for Nintendo games when you didn't have to pay an extra fee for NES, again, or Super Nintendo games seems a bit slimy to me, sliding Nintendo 64 games, essentially creating DLC for a service. And the naming, Nintendo Online Plus DLC, whatever it was called, I just didn't like that. However, when you stop and you think about the content that they showed, Bayonetta 3, a brand new 3D Kirby game, Metroid Dread, I mean, it's just unbelievable the amount of content that they have coming out right around the time for the holidays, a brand new Switch OLED, selling extremely well in Japan. That only bodes well for the rest of the world. It's already selling extremely well. And when you add in all of the fever around, again, all of these brand new titles coming out, some of them right around the holiday again, a brand new Switch OLED, everything's looking up for Nintendo. They consistently buck the trend, and I love it. I love the fact that they fly in the face of all of this nonsense, all of this, things are changing, everybody has to do the same thing or else it's going to be a failure. One of the most successful companies, one of the most successful consoles, and some of the best games. It's a very simple formula, and I love it. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Are you excited about the Switch OLED? Are you going to try and get one? I know I am. Think about subscribing to the channel. Think about sharing out this video on your favorite social media platform of choice. At the very least, hit the like button. It helps me grow the channel. And I'll see you in the next video.